годинава Косово одбележа 15 години независност. Години исполнети со немири, протести, меѓуетнички тензии и неуспешни преговори. Се чини диалогот Белград-Приштина никогаш не бил поблиску до решение. Или може би така се чини поради зголемениот дипломатски притисок кој сега го имаат двајцата лидери, Албин Курти и Александар Вучиќ. Утре во Охрид тие разговараат за предлогот на Европската Унија, кој би значил и де факто признавање на Косово и решавање на овој 15 годишен проблем на Балканот. Дали е ова така, дали тој зголемен притисок дојде поради војната во Украина е многу известно, но се уште не е известно, барем според мислењата овде, дали српската страна ќе го прифати овој договор кој, како што кажав, би значил и де факто признавање на Косово како независна држава. Трилинг во Приштина, Кристина Атовска. Во центарот на Приштина разговарам со политичкиот аналитичар Газмир Раци, кој, меѓу другото, е и поранешен член на преговарачката група Белград-Приштина. Mr. Racci, thank you for this interview. As I announced you are the former member of the dialogue group between Belgrade and Pristina. So first I'm going to ask you about that period, about the past. It's been 15 years since the independence. So what was the worst period for the negotiations, for the dialogue, for Kosovo side? And do you think that this meeting tomorrow has any positive vibes, if we can say like that?
The technical dialogue in Brussels started in 2011 as a technical negotiation. Then until 2013 there were several technical agreements reached in different areas with benefits to the citizens from both sides and with the main goal to withdraw parallel structures from Kosovo established by Serbia after the war. There was a second phase of this dialogue from 2015 until 2020 when both leaders at that time started to negotiate partition and changing the borders. This was a worst situation in the dialogue in which all energy went to the partition, to changing the borders. Then, thanks to the new administration in DC after Biden came, we have now the joint involvement of international community. I mean, the US and EU, they are now jointly involved in this process. After the Russian aggression in Ukraine, Germany, France gave and proposed a new plan which was a solid base for both sides to reach an agreement for moving forward in this situation in which we are stuck after 10 years of negotiation between Kosovo and Serbia.
Do you think that Vučić will sign this now, that he has enough pressure on him to finally sign this thing, which is most important thing for Kosovo, because this will unblock every other process and every membership in every other organization?
I hope also Serbia will say yes to this plan finally, because through this plan, EU path for Serbia and also for Kosovo will be more clarified. Because if we are not going to have the agreement, then this will have a huge impact also in our EU integration process. For Serbia, also for Kosovo, will have impact also in Euro-Atlantic integration. Because for us, it is crucial also NATO membership to start the process of NATO membership application. Let's hope tomorrow we will have a positive news from the audit, because there is no alternative
for both countries.
Because both countries accepted to join European Union. And then if we are ready to join European Union, then this means that we need also to to be European in our relations, because as we know, European Union is not interested to import a new Cyprus state within the European Union. For that, we have this talk, we have a concrete plan proposed by European Union, supported by United States, and it is a time for both sides to sign this agreement, to move forward and to start and to speed up the process of European integration.
And at the end, Mr. Ratzier, I would like to ask about your expectation when this agreement could be signed. We can see in these last days, this last week, there is increased diplomatic activity or diplomatic pressure on both leaders. There were meetings in Pristina, also in Belgrade. So what do you expect?
There are some deadlines. Deadline put by the EU mediation in this process, and it was the end of March, the time when the agreement will be closed, and then we'll start the implementation. Because Germany and France proposed, I expect the ceremony of the signing the agreement maybe will be Berlin or the Paris, and in that ceremony must be present all EU member state leaders, and this will be also a good mechanism to control the implementation for both sides, and also the progress or regress in the implementation will be measurable by European Union in our process for integration to European Union.
Mr. Ratzier, thank you very much for this interview.
Thank you very much.
Во Приштина разговарам со поранешниот лидер на движењето Самоопределување, господинот Висар Имери. Mr. Imeri, thank you very much for accepting this interview. I announced you as a former leader of the self-determination movement. You witnessed all the political turbulences between political parties in Kosovo when it comes to Belgrade-Pristina negotiations or dialogue. You were hard opposition on Hashim Tachi's draft resolution on these talks. So do you think this EU proposal now is a good proposal for Kosovo?
Well, I think that the EU proposal is not the best solution because Kosovo was expecting that this time around the dialogue between Kosovo and Serbia will come to its finish, and the finish would have been a legally obliging agreement which would contain mutual recognition. So Serbia recognizes the Republic of Kosovo and vice versa, Kosovo recognizes the Republic of Serbia. But that is not happening in this agreement. So we are having another, which is called basic agreement, which is an interim agreement, and the finish of the process is foreseen sometime in the future, which becomes a bit frustrating for Kosovo. But considering the circumstances and considering that we have had a very long time waiting for some sort of a step forward into the relation between Kosovo and Serbia, and therefore the regional cooperation and integration, I think that at the end of the day this agreement is acceptable because it gives some more space and to the international subjectivity of the Republic of Kosovo. It opens new possibilities for Kosovo, and therefore it is going to be a good agreement if it is fully accepted and implemented according to its spirit and letter.
But isn't this enough? Because they will be obliged to recognize all of your documents and to not block you further in any membership or any EU integration.
So the problem is that it is going to depend a lot on how Serbia is going to behave after this agreement. If Serbia changes its position towards Kosovo, its hostile position towards the existence of Kosovo, then yes, things are going to get better. But if Serbia does not change this position towards Kosovo, then they are going to use everything possible to create additional obstacles to Kosovo, and with this agreement, they still have the possibility to do so.
Do you expect Kosovo to enter open Balkan process after this agreement, maybe?
I would certainly hope so. I think that our government is very much against. A lot of people in Kosovo are against the Open Balkans idea. I'm one of the minority that are in favor of that, but I think that there is a lot of misunderstanding about the idea and what it aims. So I think that in general, Kosovo has to be a part of regional platforms, and I think that Open Balkan is an important and interesting regional platform where I would like Kosovo to be a part of.
And one last question, because it is a problem here in Kosovo, and also there were protests and sometimes violent protests in the north of Kosovo, North Mitrovica. So the Serbian communities are also part of this EU proposal and the decentralization process. What do you think how this should be solved? Or is this a good framework for solving this issue with Serbian population and Serbian municipalities here?
I think that, that's the EU proposal has this very important component, which is point 7, which talks about the position that the Serbian community in Kosovo is going to have, or sets the principles, how is that going to be defined. And that is going to be sort of like modeled on different European models and perspectives. So there are a lot of countries in the European Union that have these somewhere territorial autonomies, some other places cultural autonomies. And I think that for Kosovo, what is being expected and proposed is to do a combination of these different elements in order to reach the best possible solution, which would solve the issue that we have here in Kosovo, especially the relation between Kosovo Serbs and the central institutions in Kosovo. I mean, this agreement and every other agreement that we have signed with Serbia has aimed at tackling or solving two things. One was the relation that Kosovo has with Serbia, and the other is the relation that Kosovo has with Kosovo Serbs, and the rights that Kosovo Serbs should enjoy.
Yes, but Kurti was opposing this proposal to make Serbian union of communities.
That was, and Kurti is still...
And from the other hand, Vučić said it is precondition for continuing
the thing is that, I mean, Kurti still is, or says that he is against this idea of a community of Serb majority municipalities, which was signed in 2013 and then again in 2015. But I think that both of these agreements are going to be taken into consideration when we talk about the EU plan, and especially when we talk about the implementation. One of the versions of that annex, the action plan, which has been published here in Kosovo media, foresees that the very second or the first step after we agree upon the text of the agreement is going to be the process to establish a sort of a institutional arrangement for the Serbian community. Whether that is going to be called the association or community, or whether it will change its name, that's a different story. But I think that we are going to have in Kosovo some sort of a special arrangement for the Serbian community and Serb majority municipalities in our republic. And I think that we have to view this from the perspective of for extending rights for minorities rather than something that is going to be risky for Kosovo. Although we have to make sure that this does not bring into question the functionality of the republic, which I don't think is the aim. And it has been said by most of Western diplomats, especially assurances from the American diplomats, that nobody is seeking or would allow for another Republika Srpska in the region. So I think that Kosovo has a lot of guarantees for us not to go down that way. Anything else which would create more space for Kosovo non-majority communities to integrate with the rest of the Kosovo society should be welcomed and is welcomed by.
That means full respecting of minority rights.
Respecting minority rights, respecting human rights, and also additional rights which relate to the culture, religion, and which addresses some of the concerns that minorities have in Kosovo. I mean, there are concerns, especially by Serbian majority, non-majority community. So Kosovo will have to address that. I think that signing this agreement will actually open the door for Kosovo and us as a majority to be able to have a direct contact and debate with Kosovo Serbs and agree upon what kind of a country and society do we want to build together. This is not the end of the process. I think that this is a very important step towards that process.
Mr. Emery, thank you very much for this interview.